Wait. Why are there two chats? Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, why is my top chat not working? Okay. How's life going? Autism news? What?
Hunter Biden sat in on the discussions of his pardons.
Hunter Biden?
Response to that?
Unfortunately, I think it's unsurprising. And it's also very telling that one of the only pardons Joe Biden signed on his way out the door was the pardon of his son. Everything else was signed with an auto pen, but that one was clearly his own signature. To your first question about Russia, I have no news to share with you on that. Sure, in the yellow.
Remember, when they say auto pen, they have no proof of this whatsoever. There's been no evidence of this whatsoever. The only reason they say auto pen is because their goal is to be able to rescind some Biden-era executive orders or pardons. That's the only reason they're bringing this weird conspiracy theory up.
According to media reports, Maduro has sent a letter to President Trump, but President Trump avoided saying whether he has read it. Did he receive it?
We have seen this letter. Frankly, I think there were a lot of lies that were repeated by Maduro in that letter, and the administration's position on Venezuela has not changed. We view the Maduro regime as illegitimate, and the president has clearly shown that he's willing to use any and all means necessary to stop the illegal trafficking of deadly drugs from the Venezuelan regime into the United States of America.
Context of the letter?
Gilbertson, go ahead. Oh, to you and then go ahead. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Whitline with Borderhawk News. The admin has openly discussed taking legal action against officials in sanctuary jurisdictions. Just this last weekend, we saw Mayor of Evanston, Daniel Bliss, rioting and protesting outside an ICE facility near Chicago. Are there plans to start arresting sanctuary mayors or governors going forwards?
Unless they commit a crime, I don't see them being arrested. But if they are violating federal law, if they are violating state law, then of course they should be arrested by state and local law enforcement. If they're violating federal law, then they can expect the consequences of that behavior. Nick.
Thank you, Caroline. Would the president like to see Congress pass a national holiday honoring Charlie Kirk annually?
That's an interesting question. I'm sure he wouldn't oppose such a thing, but you can pose that to him yourself next time you get the chance.
Sure thing. And to follow up, too, I know the president is honoring Charlie with the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
For your mobile rig, if anyone hasn't yet suggested the Army's portable interface that's purely USB powered but still fucking sparkles, the Babyface Pro FS. Branding isn't their strong suit. Maybe I'll consider it. Army stuff has just been perfect, but it's so expensive. Like this interface I'm using is like a 2 to 4 channel interface for like $2,000. It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Is there anything else that we don't know of in the works to honor Charlie?
But I'll add it to my
Not
thanks
at this
later
time,
today.
but we do look forward to that Medal of Freedom ceremony very soon. Daniel.
Thanks, Caroline. This past Friday, Adam Schiff and Tim Kaine, they introduced a resolution on Capitol Hill aimed at stopping the successful kinetic strikes against narco-terrorists in the Caribbean Sea. What does a move like this, what type of message does it send to families, specifically families who have suffered at the hands of deadly narco drugs like these?
I definitely think it sends the wrong message. We wish that Democrats would get on board with a very simple idea of ending drug trafficking and securing our homeland. And I saw a report this morning that the Dominican Republic actually helped us seize a boat that was on its way from Venezuela to the United States of America with lots of deadly drugs on board. And so if you actually hear from Caribbean nations in the region, they are thankful and grateful for the administration's efforts, and they're working alongside us to end this plague of drug trafficking through their seas. Sure, Karen.
Over the weekend, Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries sent a letter to the White House asking for a meeting with the president to talk about government funding. Has the White House responded to that letter, and will the president sit down with them to talk about this, given that deadline is now 8 days away?
Discussions are ongoing with both Republican and Democratic members of Capitol Hill. I don't have any meetings or any scheduling updates for you today, but what I will share is that what this White House wants and what Republicans want, we want a clean funding extension to keep the government open. That's all we're advocating for, a simple, clean budget extension, a straightforward, responsible solution to keep the government open to November 21st and allow the full year appropriations process to move forward. And I will add, this is the same budget that the Democrats approved 6 months ago, just adjusted for inflation. And unfortunately, all of a sudden now, they want to shut down the government. And if the government is shut down, it's only going to, it will be the fault of the Democrats, and it will only hurt the most vulnerable in our country, our seniors, our veterans, our military families, and increasing security for members of Congress, which is something this White House and the administration supports. And if you look back at the statements made by Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in the past, they too have advocated against a shutdown and for keeping the government open. Democrat Chuck Schumer himself said a shutdown would mean chaos and pain and needless heartache for the American people. He said once avoiding a shutdown is very good news for the country, for our veterans, for parents and children, for farmers, and for small businesses. Hakeem Jeffries also said it's about the harm. Families will be hurt if there is a government shutdown. Farmers will be hurt. Holiday travel will be impacted. Democrats clearly know what the right thing to do is here. It's to join with Republicans to pass this clean funding extension. That's what the White House and the president wants. And
Clean
with that,
funding
we will see you
extension.
all
That's
at
the new
4
name
o'clock
for it.
this big announcement
On
later
autism.
Thanks,
Oh
guys.
boy. What is this?
As you may know, I use OBS for all the productions that I've done in the last year.
Into an advanced video graphics system. What does that even mean?
The thing, well, we're on YouTube. Just go see. He needs to be the one.
Oh,
Okay, they.
okay. Venezuela announces capture of alleged DEA agent with massive drug shipment. According to the country's interior minister, the detainees confessed the shipment was part of a false flag operation designed to incriminate Venezuela in international drug trafficking. I'm going to press X to down on that one, but okay.
Sure, in the pink.
Thanks, Caroline. Liz Landers with PBS NewsHour. I just wanted to follow up quickly on something that the president had said yesterday. So we heard from Erica Kirk. She said she forgives the man who shot and killed her husband. And then right after that, we heard from the president who said, I hate my opponent and I don't want the best for them. How does that square with bringing down the temperature of political violence in this country? And then, if I could, I had a follow-up on Venezuela, too.
Look,
What?
the
Is that allowed to
president is
meme?
authentically himself. I think that's why millions of Americans across the country love him and support him, including Erica Kirk, who you saw so beautifully was on stage with the president in an unthinkable moment, in the midst of an unthinkable tragedy, and was leaning on the president for support during that time. And he was there to give it to her, as well as the vice president and many other top-ranking cabinet officials. Kayla.
Thanks.
Sure, in the pink.
Thanks, Caroline. Liz Landers with PBS NewsHour. I just wanted to follow up quickly on something that the president had said yesterday. So we heard from Erica Kirk. She said she forgives the man.
Thanks, Faith Adams. Sorry.
Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. So too on the Holman investigation, I mean, can you just speak to, did the president ask the Justice Department to close the case, and does Holman have to return the $50,000?
Oh, we don't talk about, I don't even think I covered this. I just read the headline. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm good. Fuck me.
Well, Mr. Holman never took the $50,000 that you're referring to, so you should get your facts straight, number one. Number two, this was another example of the weaponization of the Biden Department of Justice against one of President Trump's strongest and most vocal supporters in the midst of a presidential campaign. You had FBI agents going undercover to try and entrap one of the president's top allies and supporters, someone who they knew very well would be taking a government position months later. Mr. Holman did absolutely nothing wrong, and even the president's Department of Justice, even Kash Patel's FBI, looked into this just to make sure. They had a number of different prosecutors and FBI agents who looked into this. They found zero evidence of illegal activity or criminal wrongdoing. And the White House and the president stand by Tom Homan 100% because he did absolutely nothing wrong, and he is a brave public servant who has done a phenomenal job in helping the president shut down the border.
You know what I just realized yesterday? I actually don't think if the shooter was right wing, I don't think we would ever know. I thought about this a lot. And I realized the cancerousness, is that a word? Of talking about ongoing investigations. There's no possible world where the FBI, if they found this information, would make a public statement releasing any of it regarding the shooter being right-wing or not, like, politically affiliated, because the entire political leadership has already staked their entire reputation. Like, imagine, I'm just thinking of how, like, horrible this is. Like, imagine you set up this whole ass fucking thing where a huge theme is, like, you know, being opposed to the enemies of America, left-wing radicalism and violence. And then imagine it comes out, oh shit, we just found out that the shooter guy was either right-wing or was like super apolitical, was like shitting on Biden or something, right? Like it could never come out. How could you ever have that information come out? The president and the vice president were speaking here, right? It was so stupid of them to make comments on this investigation like in the early hours, really, but in the first day or two before they knew anything. Because now I don't even know if we would ever find out about anything if they were to discover anything. I would still hope that the FBI is large enough and sprawling enough that they wouldn't be able to keep it under wraps. But the kid seemed vocal to his family about politics. Why isn't the press talking to those people? Yeah, I don't know.
Gabe, in fact, when
a different topic, going back to the president's social media post from over the weekend regarding the DOJ and his seeming frustration that they hadn't taken action quickly enough. I want to point to something that the president said during his inaugural address. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. We will not allow that to happen. Is the president going back on his promise?
No. In fact, the president is fulfilling his promise to restore a Department of Justice that demands accountability. And it is not weaponizing the Department of Justice to demand accountability for those who weaponized the Department of Justice. And nobody knows what that looks like more than President Trump. We are not going to tolerate gaslighting from anyone in the media or from anyone on the other side who is trying to say that it's the president who is weaponizing the DOJ. It was Joe Biden and his attorney general who weaponized the DOJ. Joe Biden used this sacred American institution to go after his political opponent in the middle of an election year. And you look...
What can be done about these people? Like, it can't, like... It can't be that we just go on like normal, right? Like, we can't just go on if they... Let's assume they lose the midterms, and then let's assume they lose the next election. It can't really be that we just, like, all pretend that none of this ever happened. Like, the incessant lying, the propaganda, the... Like, Biden weaponized the DOJ. If Biden weaponized the DOJ, then why didn't they publicly announce that this guy was being investigated? Why did they try to smear and tarnish him? Like, do you remember the mental gymnastics that, like, Tulsi Gabbard and then by extension Rob Noor had to do with how Obama was weaponizing all the intelligence services against Trump? It's like, well, then why didn't he try to do this? Why didn't he announce any of this stuff before the election? Well, they wanted him to get elected, but then they wanted to weaken his presidency after he was elected. This is the most retarded conspiracy I've ever heard in my entire life. Who the fuck does that? Why would you do that? That's so stupid.
At people like Adam Schiff and like James Comey and like Letitia James, who the president is rightfully frustrated. He wants accountability for these corrupt fraudsters who abused their power, who abused their oath of office to target the former president and then candidate for the highest office in the land. And I think the president is reaffirmed in those frustrations and his hope for accountability by the millions and millions of people who reelected him to this office with a mandate to demand accountability. And the president has not been shy about this, Gabe. In fact, when he traveled to the Department of Justice earlier this year, all of you were there to cover it. He said, quote, "I demand a full and complete accountability for wrongs and abuses that have occurred. The American people gave a mandate to investigate and root the corruption out of our system, and that's what the president wants to see done."
After my accident, my Uber driver made me realize that I am in hell. Somebody linked a video of them getting in an accident. Wait, was this you? Is this the same video? Ah! Damn. I think I mentioned this before. I don't know how much it would cost, but the one thing I appreciate about driving my little zipper cars, I wouldn't call them sports cars, but like sportier cars, I guess. I'm not like driving supercars, but I like being able to stop on a dime. Like, I would be able to stop here. I don't know if I could in like a Corolla or like in an ordinary, you know, whatever, mid-size four-door sedan, ordinary sedan. Like slamming the brakes here and not having the car. If this looks just like the squishiest, most worn down pads or whatever. I don't know, but it's probably just a normal car. I think. That would drive me crazy. You're just used to hot hatches or performance cars. Yeah, like the whatever the like the $20,000 to $40,000. I don't know how much cars cost anymore, but. Holy shit, how has this gotten so good, Destiny? Still driving your RS? I am. No! Oh! Hold on! I did decide, I think if I do get another car, because I wanted the 9, what are all the numbers? Like the 911, 992, whatever bullshit, but one, I don't know if it'd be responsible to spend that money right now. And also, a lot of people have these cars, because they do seem like the GT3, yeah. From everything I've talked to, that GT3 just seems like the best car. Just the best car. Just done. Full stop. It's just, if you want to drive something fun and fast, that's just like it. That's it. But I don't have, my buddy's obsessed with his, it's annoying. Well, once you know what they look like, at least where I live, there's a lot of them. I'm like, fuck. I feel like if I did buy a car, it would be that, I have decided, it's going to be the Snowflake one. I don't even think they're as fast as the Corvettes, but they're special because not many people have them. Fuck, what was the name of that stupid brand? The Lotus shit? This stupid thing. Because it's special. Makes me feel like a snowflake. And it's like 70 or 80K. It's not like 250. The Emir, I think. Yeah, that's what I would do. And then I'll be the only one in my area with it because nobody else has this stupid fucking car.
Hi guys, welcome to Counterpoints.
Jesus, our video. This is one of the most psychotic images I've ever seen. Oh, Taylor can't be real for all of these things. Like, some of these tweets have to be trolls, right? People thought I was lying when I said how high I keep the thermostat in my apartment at 90. I feel like every apartment and every house is like a little bit different. Like, there have been places I've lived where I keep it at like 74. Somewhere I keep it at like, maybe the lowest is like 68. But if you're going like if you're going like north of 74, south of like 68, I feel like you've got a leak somewhere. Something is fucked in your house. The GT3 Redline's like a fucking demon. I sat in one as a part of a driving experience in Atlanta, and you get a new one in manual. The only issue is getting one at all. Yeah, the issue is it's hard to find them new. I think it's like really hard. Like you have to get like on a wait list and shit. And I don't have fuck all that shit. And I think new, are they over 300K? Is 78 really that bad of a temp? 78 that's demonically hot. If you're living in a place where you've got it set to 78, there's some shit wrong with you, okay? Destiny's Prisoner Dilemma is wrong! This is 3 days old. And it's an hour and 16 minutes. Wait, what the fuck is this?
Vanguard Tanky C.
Is this even legal? Jesus Christ. Wait, this has to be like a weird perspective thing. Can the driver see this, or is this like hanging in between the seats? Because I see like the sunglass carrier up here, or sunglasses carrier up Can the driver see this? It's in between. Okay, yeah, I think it's a weird perspective. This must be hanging. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, okay. Oh my God, the LEDs inside. Yo, hey, hold on. Hold up. Okay? Part of the joys of growing up is as you get older, there are things in life as a kid that people told you. And when you get older, you realize, wow, mom and dad were really right about that. Or this piece of advice was like really true, right? Like one thing we heard a lot growing up as kids is, oh, adults don't know anything. They're just trying to figure it out as they go, the same way that, kids are. And it's like, oh, that seems like it's true for a lot of people. A lot of people are fucking retarded. Okay, true. One thing, yeah, people in chat are knowing it. One thing that's not true is the idea that if you have the smallest fucking light source imaginable in the back seat, your parents are gonna fucking crash and die. And the cops are gonna pull them over and are gonna give them tickets and arrest them. What was this bullshit? Why did mom and dad say this all the time? You can't have any lights back there. I can't see. As soon as you fucking plug anything in, what the fuck? Bullshit. Now everybody's got a fucking cell phone. Everybody's looking at screens all the time. Nobody's saying shit now. It puts out like 7 billion more lumens of light than the stupid fucking Game Boy light did. That was some bullshit. Okay? That was some bullshit. Also, never open the window in the back seat while driving. That was fucking illegal. Well, opening the window on one side is annoying because I don't know what the physics explanation is, but it basically makes it feel like somebody's smashing your head against your own window until you roll yours down too. If you roll it down a little bit, if somebody rolls their window down on the opposite side of you and you don't roll yours down, it's like that's what's happening in your fucking ear all day. I don't know why. I hate when people turn on the overhead light. Fucking drives me nuts. Actually, fuck. You know what? I think I just realized why some people care and some people don't care. You know what? I've always driven compact cars. I think I'm just used to you fucking retards rolling around in your trucks and SUVs with your brights on. That shit should be an executable offense. My life isn't... I'm in danger. I'm in danger. I can't see. You're blinding me. If you were driving and I stuck my fingers out my window and I poked your eyeballs out, you'd be able to self-defend. Why can't I do the same when you're trailing me in your dumbass $50,000 huge-ass truck you've never used before to haul anything, your dumbass SUV, so you can carry your fat fucking kids around, and you are blaring your fucking high beams at me? Why do you do that? I don't know why you guys drive it with it on all the time. Wait, were we on stream? No, this was off stream. When me and Melina and Alinity, we were going somewhere, and she was like, I don't know how to... Because I think we were driving. I'm like, are your high beams on? And she's like, yeah, they always are. And I'm like, that's not how, no. And you just have to turn the thing. Oh my God. Was this on stream or off stream? I don't remember. Jesus Christ. Sorry. You got to put on reflector tape on your rear headrests. I usually just I flip the reflector thing on my rear view in a very aggressive, angry manner. And I hope they notice. 1 out of 100 times they will notice. Damn, sorry. 43,000 likes? Destiny, you'll likely respond to something disgusting, but I want to tell you what you need to hear. Jesus loves you. That darkness in you is a choice. It's not too late to change. You've embraced evil, and it'll destroy you if you don't turn back now. We will pray for you. Thank you. There are like 4 dealerships for Lotus in Florida. Have you really not seen a Lotus anywhere in Miami? I'm going to be honest, bro. If a Lamborghini drove by me, and then a C8 Corvette drove by me, and then a Lotus drove by me, I would assume all of them are the same fucking car, so I have no idea if I've seen one around. I don't know. Any mid-engine car with that like type of styling, they all look the same to me, baby. Hell yeah. Here's the core.
Brought this up yesterday or the day before. What I'm calling for is I'm not asking the left to unilaterally disarm. What I'm asking the left to do is I'm saying that the right wing is currently not interested in playing fair or engaging in diplomacy, but the left wing should engage in diplomacy. And they should also be ready that if the right wing, instead of bringing up their hand in friendship to negotiate a new American peace, and the right wing instead brings up the gun of civil war, the left wing brings up the gun of civil war and shoots the right wing in the face, metaphorically, of course. So when we're wing, but the left wing should engage in diplomacy. And they should also be ready that if the right wing, instead of bringing up their hand in friendship to negotiate a new American peace, and the right wing instead brings up the gun of civil war, the left wing brings up the gun of civil war and shoots the right wing in the face, metaphorically, of course. So when we're dealing with this prisoner's dilemma, what I'm trying to do, which is actually really interesting that he was able to highlight it so quickly, is I am trying to do this situation as much as possible, whereas I'm kind of arguing that Stephen's rhetoric pushes us, green, pushes us more towards a...
Oh, shit. Oh, God, I lost it. Oh, no, I remember this before stream. I was going to write it down, and I just remember that I remembered it. No, I remember that I forgot it. Oh, I remembered it. Oh, my God, I remembered it. I can't believe I didn't say this before. You want to know the best example? I brought this up before, but I never connected in my mind. The best example of why tit for tat is a good strategy, and why Republicans don't really believe in the danger that they say that the left represents. You know why? It's because Joe Biden was the president of the United States of America when the Supreme Court issued the presidential criminal immunity, and not a single person on the Republican side was scared of that. None of them cared. None of them thought about it. None of them gave a fuck. That's the example of them, because they knew that Biden and the Democrats would never do anything unhinged or crazy that he would need criminal immunity for. That's an example of, like, they should be afraid, not of anybody going to kill them, and I'm not saying we should do that, but like a healthy amount of fear of repercussions of being unhinged, I think would have made them tread a lot more carefully on that. Well, should the president have immunity from crimes? Do you see that video of Rob Norris saying he doesn't care about principles anywhere? Nope, that's pretty funny. What is this?
Destiny's tweet on September 20th. I'll go ahead and throw that up here. This is crazy. I didn't see it. Hassan will never be the target of the current administration because Hassan and other tankies like him, Majority Report people, Brianna Joy Gray, the Vanguard. Vanguard's coming up. We're getting more and more references in this slander.
Hey, we were mentioned before TYT. Hell yeah, bro.
TYT.
Destiny knows who the real home of progressives is.
Dead ass. He says, have no desire to pursue real political power. Bro, you supported Joe Biden. What are you talking about? They just make commentary.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
On the left, that is majority designed to attack other Democrats. People like Hassan play an important role in the current power structure to keep the left weak and divided.
Destiny literally attacks people like Hassan more than people like Hassan attack Destiny.
I don't know how to counter that. I don't know if I need like a super hits of how many times. I feel like you could put one of those, what's like one of the wacky like montage songs? Like classical music, montage wacky songs of like Hassan calling me sex pestity, molestity, epstity, like over and 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 over. Not the Benny Hill one. There's that one where it's like dun 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 dun. I didn't even sing the right notes to that. Does anybody want to? What am I thinking of? I know what you mean. Fuck. I don't even. Mountain King? Is that the song? Fuck.
No, it's not the moon.
Not this one. Wait.
I did not get to the FPS part.
Wait, maybe it is this one. Hold on.
Beneath me. Out. And I can't even get.
No, I don't think it's this one. People are saying Mountain King. No. Wait. No. Wait, fuck. Is this one? No, wait. It might be this one. No, it's not this one. Wait, hold on. If I keep listening to this one, it's going to make the other one fade from my head. What am I thinking of? Not Ride of the Valkyrie. Shut the fuck up. Fuck! The later parts of Hungarian Rhapsody? Oh, wait! Maybe. Maybe? Wait. Yes! Thank you. I was thinking of, wait, which part? Yeah, this shit. This can be for orchestra too, right? I feel like, without going full woke, I've talked about this before. If you look at like gender differences or how much environment can like influence like biological outcomes, I guess, if you were to take a look at the world of music and you look at like all the guitar players and stuff, you would the imagination would be that maybe men are just more dexterous with their fingers or men are just better suited for that kind of stuff. But when you go to like the classical music world, you find all sorts of like insanely talented women that play, piano or violin or whatever. It's kind of weird how culturally divided. Why the fuck don't more girls play guitar?
So unless you're the only
Anyway,
one who's
sorry.
allowed to make fun of other people in your on the side of the aisle that you occupy, that's fucking ridiculous.
It's so boring. Like, why can't anybody have a real conversation? Like, do you really think that Destiny, Stephen Bonnell, the guy who's like unhinged on Twitter 99% of the time, that guy would be stupid enough to make the argument, oh guys, we shouldn't make fun of each other? Like, come on, you can't even believe this argument. It's so cringe and stupid. It's so fucking lame how obsessed these fucking losers are with fabricating reality for their audiences. You understand that, like, what they're doing is intentional. One is to make a caricature out of me so that I'm completely incapable of either being taken seriously or ever being engaged with. And then two, they refuse to ever actually engage with me because they can't have that illusion shattered. One of the most annoying things is when idiots like this build up these delusional caricatures of me, is it also, like, it thickens the wall between us. It makes it impossible for us to ever engage because they can't do it now. Because if they were to show their audience, like, a conversation with me, it would be all over. The entire illusion would collapse.
Divided. Destiny literally attacks people like Hassan more than people like Hassan attack Destiny.
I have no problem if Hassan wants to criticize any of my fucking positions or takes on anything. He doesn't. He just reads my fucking Kiwi Farms thread and then talks about my kid. That's all he does.
So unless you're the only one who's allowed to make fun of other people in your on the side of the aisle that you occupy, that's fucking ridiculous. Just fucking gaslighting everyone, acting like he never criticized other people on the left.
Oh, 100%. He was literally just saying on his stream maybe 10 days or less ago that people like Kyle and Crystal had no home in the Democratic Party and that they needed to fuck off and start their own new party. So that's Brianna Joy Gray, Majority Report, Kyle Kalinske, Crystal Ball, the Vanguard, TWT. Oh, he just doesn't want any competition in his fucking lane. He doesn't want anybody that could actually reach the people he's trying to corrupt with the truth. That's why Destiny's flailing him.
That I'm trying to corrupt. Remember, I'm trying to corrupt people by making them vote Democrat. That's my corruption, by the way.
About this.
Yeah, and he says, you're telling me not to disregard Hassan, while at the same time Hassan is saying that I've aligned with fascists who I've constantly and always been at odds with. Sam Hyde, Fuentes, Trump. Stop falling for this bait. It's so stupid. And also it's hilarious that he calls like the majority, like he calls Sam and Emma tankies. Yeah. That's fucking hilarious, bro. That is hilarious. I mean,
Sam, at this point, I'm sorry, I'm out of patience for Sam. Like, Sam on his own probably isn't, but like he co-signs the worst opinions and the worst people on the planet on his fucking show.
Such an obvious smear. This is like when people on Fox News call like Obama and Hillary like communists or something. Like,
except no, because Obama and Hillary, you guys would even say yourself, are completely different ideologically from you. Like, people like Brianna Joy Gray, you dipshits on the Vanguard, people on the Young Turks, I don't even know where the fuck they're at, would unironically identify as socialists. What do you mean?
You know, not that Sam and Emma aren't radical, they are, but to call them...
And he even realizes in the next second, because he's like, wait a second, did I just compare all of us to Obama and Hillary, who we consider neoliberal shills? Good one, dipshit.
fucking tankies. You're just saying things. You're just smearing people with words that don't actually align with their values at all. That's crazy.
The person who I would say definitely is closest to a tanking is Brianna, and even she'll push back sometimes on the like wildest tanky bullshit.
Yeah, she's definitely the closest to being a tanky. But yeah, I mean that's what does that even, I mean, do you just mean by tanky anyone who's willing to be critical of Democrats?
Yes. Yeah, you got me. I just don't want anybody ever to criticize Democrats ever. Yes. King.
Anyone that's not just going to gaslight their audience about like Joe Biden, as you mentioned?
Yeah, true.
Is that what a tanky is? I guess we're tankies then.
I guess that is true. Yeah, Gavin and I, like, some people get super sensitive when you use the word tanky, but to me, a tanky is the kind of people who want to just like fucking, hand wave away any criticism of any like, I don't know, the People's Republic of Korea or China or Russia.
Putin, yeah.
And just be like, oh, I'm going to be a Putin nut writer for my fucking political analysis and talk about how the people of Ukraine actually want to be slaughtered by Putin and they want to be occupied. And it's like, bro, people don't want to be fucking occupied. Like, straight up. That is
liberated.
Universal. Yeah, exactly.
They're being liberated. Come on, bro.
I don't think modern tankies even defend Putin. I don't think that's even true, is it? I think they just say that Putin's not a real socialist.
But that is funny. Yeah. Shout out to Destiny for.
But you know what they do is they sure do shit on Eastern Europeans because they hate those motherfuckers for rejecting their Soviet rule. But then in the next breath, they'll also say the Soviet Union wasn't real communism or socialism. If you ever wonder why Hassan shits on Polish people so much, that's why.
For mentioning us as being part of the same political coalition as TYT, even though he's also criticizing us for constantly criticizing TYT.
Very strange.
He's like, these people make too much videos criticizing TYT, but also.
Do I what?
Shout out to Destiny for mentioning us as being part of the same political coalition as TYT, even though he's also criticizing us for constantly criticizing TYT.
I criticize these guys for criticizing the young. Have I ever done that ever in my life?
Very strange.
He's like, these people make too much videos criticizing TYT, but also they're in the same. Okay. What? That doesn't make sense.
True, it doesn't make sense.
Shout out to you, Steve. Thank you so much. Shout out to John. Thanks for the $4.99. Arguably the best part of Kirk's death is watching Faux, Breitbart, his take, and especially the young Trump's head explode in anger. I mean, yeah, it's been kind of funny, but it's also just been boring hearing all these people glaze Charlie Kirk and gaslight us all about what he stood for and what his legacy was. Like, it's just boring. Like this fucking Her Take episode, I was watching it live and just kept going on and just glazing him and lying and repeating the stupid bullshit, acting like he was someone he wasn't. So it's kind of cringe.
I don't know why you guys link me. I can't. I need something else to do in the background. What? I could try to grind that boss, the chromatic boss down. There's no way I'm watching an hour and 10-minute video on Rob Noir.
To the fear of a civil libertarian, of someone who's called out this kind of shit, what he perceived, falsely, on the left. And what you have right now is him apologizing for saying that was wrong, right? He's saying, I'm sorry. Actually,
wait, what? Hold on. God, dude. This is when you knew you were fucking... Hold on. Where's the Game Boy original screen plus speaker combo? Whoo! No, wait, not this one. I don't know what the fuck that is. Was it? It might have been this guy. I think it was this guy. Fuck. It wasn't exactly that one, though. Close enough, though. This is how you knew you were big dick in it. Whoo! Look at this guy. Look at that. Look at this bad boy. You had the magnifier. You had the huge 1-watt speakers on the side. You had a built-in light so you could play in the dark. Oh my God. Oh my God, bro. Can we watch some of the Dan Carlin and Sam Harris latest convo? Probably not. I'm too lazy. How was it though? Sam Harris is like the only guy that made it back from the IDW with any of his integrity intact. I still have the inkling feeling that Sam Harris is a little bit too obsessed with like the wokey DEI people and way too obsessed with Islam, in my opinion. But for the most part, I think he does his thing. Oh, holy shit. This tweet did numbers. Good job, chat. Good meme, Jack. $115K. Oh, damn. He still got more. I rage removed this guy from Discord. I was too triggered. I couldn't handle his bullshit anymore. I think that's why he's tweeting me so much now. You have a near 200K one from like 10 days ago. From which tweet? Wait, do these tweets like blow up like in the past? Oh, I have a lot more followers. Maybe that's where they came from. Ah, this was a good one. One of the go-to strats when I used to argue with my mom about politics more, if I ever wanted to just like exit the argument, start making her cry, I would just like quote like old Trump things at her and she would start losing it. Stevie, don't say that. Mom, it's your president. He thought he was behind closed doors, Stevie. Remember the meme, guys. The left left me behind. The left left me behind. The left left me behind, guys. The left left me behind. The left left me behind. Why is that image posted 4 times? Because it's so true. My wife and I are trying Expedition 33 for the first time. Any tips? Yeah, kick your wife the fuck out, okay? I don't know if you ever get more men in your party, but it's all women, okay? Your wife doesn't need to be there for that. For the harem. Only 2 of them are in the harem, though, because one is underage. Whew. Oh, 46K on this one. God damn. My vampire one only did 6.5K? What? Wait, did this guy block me? Is he a Matt? Who did I even quote tweet on this? Fuck you, Eric Hovagim. You are poggers. Aww. Bayzed. Oh my god. All of our engagements. Pedophile Mac. Okay, niche reference, but this was a good one. Okay. Our performance enhancing shooter drugs. I think these are the... Sometimes people would order like black market hormones from Brazil for their HRT shit, and they would sell them in these fucking boxes. Hell yeah. I can't believe I flew all the way down to wherever the fuck I went to film this episode with Michael Knowles, and they didn't release it. Fuck this guy. Like a year ago. Why do you know that? Because I know everything. I'm trans F to M, okay? What do you think of Crowder's response to you? I don't remember. Did I tweet it? He's a pussy. He's a loser. Cult behavior. Oh, this one. Oh, nice. Good. True. You know, I was skeptical, however, after reviewing some archival footage, I reached the conclusion that the omniliberal is correct. Yesterday was exactly like a Nazi rally. Remember this you can see this happen in real time, actually. The best example, I think, is Trump's January 6th speech compared to Biden's America speech or whatever, where you'll have like a whole ass fucking speech. And if it's a Democrat, Republicans will go through this with a fine-tooth comb, and they'll find like the one part that they might think is objectionable, and then they will stereotype that to pretend the whole thing is like that. But when it comes to a Republican speaking, like the whole thing can be evil, but they'll try to find like one okay statement, and then they'll project that onto the entire presentation, even if the whole thing, like the characterization of it, is probably more negative than not. But good one. I assume you've seen that Stephen Bald Goebbels Miller quoted from 2 different Goebbels speeches for his vile garbage yesterday. I did not see that. I will say, I don't usually tell people to pump the brakes on those memes because that guy is fucking Hitler Jr. However, I will say that like any fascist leader or like any political leader giving a speech, there's probably going to be things that everybody says that are somewhat similar when you're like jerking off your country and all that shit. Like I'm sure if we were to go through all of Goebbels and fucking Hitler's speeches, we can find things that Obama and Biden and everybody around the world has said about their country or whatever, maybe. Although there are some things that are really fucking weird. Like when Trump, we all just kind of like move on from it because no one cares. Like, I don't even know where you would get this language from.
You know, when they let, I think the real number is 15, 16 million people into our country.
Remember when I said back then it was 15 million? That's how many Joe Biden let in initially. And then during the election season and right after it was 20 million. And the last time I heard him bring it up, it was 25 million, right? But this was back when he was running, so it was still just 15 million.
You know, when they let, I think the real number is 15, 16 million people into our country. When they do that, we got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and
poisoning the blood of our country. That's a really crazy string of words. If he's on blood thinners, it would make sense he'd be paranoid about blood quality, to be fair. Okay. Here are a few more thoughts on the shutdown. Why Democrats haven't left themselves with a lot of great options. Does Nate Silver... Somebody told me that my characterization of him was wrong yesterday or the day before. That he doesn't usually shit on Dems all the time. That's just my impression, I guess. Maybe that's just the stuff that gets linked to my chat, though. Your ex-e-girl flame talking shit. Nate Silver is a little brain broken since people shit on him for saying Biden shouldn't run again, in my opinion. He's a lab leak truther? Oh, fuck. I feel like he got fucked. I thought people like criticized because they didn't like the polling because of Hillary or some bullshit. I thought he got brain broken a long time ago. Maybe it wasn't that long ago, though. That would be really long ago. It couldn't be that long. Damn, a lot of time has passed. Mamdani pulls out of local ABC town hall over Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. Mamdani said the decision to pull Kimmel off the air sent a message that the First Amendment is no longer a right that can be counted on. God damn! Based. He's basically won this election, right, in New York? Like, is there any realistic path for Cuomo or Adams to win right now? It's not the government's job to bully talk show hosts off the air. It's not the government's job to tell us what we can and cannot talk about, Mamdani said at a campaign event on Roosevelt Island in New York City, adding that the message sent by the sequence of events at ABC is a message that the First Amendment is no longer a right that can be counted on. Mamdani referred to the responsibility that all of us have in this moment to showcase just how unacceptable these kinds of actions are, how unacceptable it is that we are living in a moment where Donald Trump's actions are the ones which determine whether or not we can enjoy that which we have taken for granted for so many years. True. People look at Cuomo and Adams as Trump's puppets. No way right now. Libs in New York vote for any affiliate of Trump. I had this like small hope. Actually, I don't care that much. I'm not like emotionally attached to the Cuomos, but I had this small hope that like Cuomo would like kind of cut a deal with Adams or Trump or whatever for Adams to drop out of the race, and then Cuomo would drop out after and be like base backstabber. Trump said that people should vote for Cuomo a few weeks ago. Really? Damn. Azzo Party accused Mamdani of running from reporters in the month since the June primary and refusing to answer direct questions on various campaign positions. Has he? Oh, this is Cuomo's spokesperson. I gotcha. Do you think Mamdani's anti-Israel stance is doing more harm than good right now, despite these accurate statements on Kimmel? I think Mamdani does the dog whistling to the pro-pallies well enough. I don't feel like... I feel like he said the right things if you're Jewish to not feel like unsafe or something. Like he basically disavowed that whole the global intifada shit. And he said it was after talking to Jews or whatever. And it's like, just from what I've heard him say, his rhetoric doesn't seem like aggressively anti-Israel. I haven't heard anything like that. But I also, you know what? At this point, fuck Israel. Fuck you. Fuck that bullshit ass fucking country. I don't give a fuck. I hope Mamdani does globally intifada your ass. All right, fucking losers. Unbelievable. How's that? What did they just invade Gaza City for the 57th time to get rid of Hamas? I feel like they're playing fucking peekaboo over there. The fuck. Do you see Netanyahu talk about how Israel didn't kill Charlie Kirk? No, that's funny if you felt the need to address it though. Maria Ressa, talking about her experience with the Philippines falling under Duterte. Well, Jon Stewart, he said about that. I don't know under whose authority he could even arrest him. That's cringe. Virtue signal, but I don't care. Whatever. At this point, I don't fucking care. Fuck Israel. Are you mad you got exposed by Myron yesterday for clearly using woke grok in your debate? Why did he keep asking me if I was using AI? I feel like I was like leaning back most of the time anyway. I don't think I was like typing a ton at any point in that debate. What part was... I hate that like all my notes are so public on everything. Like everybody saw me read for this, research for this, and then debate this. What part is the AI? What do I need the AI for? Do you think Dems should run on more criticism on Israel since Israel's popularity is plummeting among Americans, especially young? No, because I just don't think many people care that much. Like the opinion about Israel is really negative, but I don't think it's like heavily influential for a lot of voters. So I don't think it's worth like fixating on it.
Orders.
Right.
And then if you look at the way that shaped the...
Destiny lost the debate when Myron said this.
All right, because I know mine, I'm coming in good.
Reality of everybody, right? I think that was why we spoke.
You should re-research the 30s. You seem to imply the Peel partition gave the Jews the Negev. This wasn't true. They got all the Galilee though. The Peel petition it wasn't actually a petition, right? It didn't give anybody anything, right? I think the Peel, I don't actually know what was, I actually don't even know if they drew maps from the appeal partition. They might have, but I thought the point of the appeal commission was at the end. For the first time, they recommended, hey, this shit is going to have to be 2 different countries because these motherfuckers can't work together. And then I thought the recommendation was that they would draw borders around where most of the majority populations already lived. So at that point, there probably weren't any Jews in the Negev. So maybe they didn't include the Negev for that. But nobody ever talks about that when they talk about 57% of the land. And it's like, bro, a huge chunk of that land, it was dog shit. I think even today, I don't know if there's fucking anything down here. Nobody lives here. There are probably some cities down there today. This place sucks. Okay, no, there's not even. This place sucks. Damn. See, the Pallies are looking at this map now and they're like, fuck. Fuck. Why didn't we take this? Fuck. Hi, bestie. One day D-Man will say hi back. Hello, Vikram. I love you. My red pill brother. Okay. Plan under Resolution 181, Jerusalem was to be an internationally administrated city, I believe. It was going to be a neutral city that had a UN, I think, permanent administration, I believe. With an extraterritorial special international regime for the city of Jerusalem and its surroundings. Did I say Israel or Jerusalem? Jerusalem would be the international zone. Muslim Iron. Were you really a Muslim? Is he Muslim? He was so clearly lying. You could have been way more aggressive, but you played soft. I think I was fairly aggressive in that debate. One of the issues that I point out that we kind of got stuck on in the beginning, and I guess we had to move on eventually, is that the worldview of him was based on a lot of incorrect information, but we could never resolve that. So the idea, for instance, early on that Jews were stealing land, which doesn't make sense. Again, how the Jews wouldn't have had the early military terrorist power. They couldn't have stolen it under the Ottoman Empire, right? That would be a huge scandal. So pre-1917 or whatever, there's no way that'd be possible. And then in the British Mandate, Jews wouldn't have been able to just aggressively take over towns and shit because the Brits, I imagine, wouldn't have allowed it. But there is an argument to be made if you don't like how it worked, though, in that they bought in that they were buying land from basically AFK landowners that owned huge swaths of land under the Ottoman Empire, and they would buy land from those people, and they'd move in and they'd kick the Arabs off. Although I would say that's a lose-lose technically from a modern perspective, because if they would have kept the Arabs there after buying the land, then people would make the claim that, oh, well, they kept them there as slaves or indentured servants. So technically, it's fucked. It's just dumb. Whatever. Ottoman rent seekers. Oh, actually, almost true, I think, because I think the Ottoman Empire started to sell swaths of land to people because they were taking out loans for stuff even prior to World War I think. But I don't know. Okay, sorry. Making this up, or did he say a life sentence too? Maybe he just said jail, but Trump posted a truth or whatever on that. That's unhinged. And then immediately after, you see Zuckerberg come out and do his suck up bullshit. But I think I tweeted out something about that at the time because I got an email because I was super critical of Mark Zuckerberg at the time. And then a fan emailed me and they're like, hey, it's fair to be critical of Zuckerberg, but you should take a broader look at what's actually happened here. The president of the United States has threatened to lock this guy up in prison because of stuff posted on his platform. And then you see him reverse position immediately after. This is just the president acting like an actual authoritarian dictator, forcing his political opponents to capitulate. Otherwise, he'll throw them in prison. I'm like, oh, okay, true.
He flips over. Now we've got.
I wish we would just link to the fucking post. Former President Trump is threatening Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg with, quote, life in prison, end quote, after the Facebook founder admitted his company took down content under pressure from the Biden administration during the pandemic and the 2020 election cycle, which was already a bullshit like kind of admission by Zuckerberg. This was so cucked the way that he came out and said this. Oh my shit, at linking back to source material drives me crazy. It is really bad. That standard needs to change. Unless there's something that I'm just not aware of in the journalistic world that's a really good argument for why you shouldn't do that, I just think it's unacceptable. Like anytime a thing is referenced in an article, like if I'm writing up something, fuck, what's the last thing I wrote? Like a Substack post or a Reddit post. If I quote a thing, then the thing links back to what I'm quoting. I wouldn't just link to some random fucking article. It's so annoying.
And so what the Cambridge Analytica whistleblower said, you guys remember that 2018, right?
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
This is a short clip as well, but like there's so much easy stuff to see from start to finish for Trump. Like Trump will make a threat, will say something, somebody will respond to the threat, and then Trump will even like confirm that it worked. Like, oh yeah, he's probably responding to my threats, and like nobody cares, yeah. All I can say is that if I'm elected president, we will pursue election fraudsters at levels never seen before, and they will be sent to prison for long periods of time. We already know who you are. Don't do it. Zuckerbucks. Be careful. I think there was another thing where he brought up that life in prison quote too. But yeah, it's just like unhinged. It's like crazy unhinged. Oh, okay, wait. This was maybe in his book. We are watching him closely, Trump wrote in his book earlier this year in a section about Zuckerberg, and if he does anything illegal this time, he will spend the rest of his life in prison, as will others who cheat in the 2024 presidential election. Before the presidential election, Zuckerberg announced he would not make any donations to election officials again. And he called Trump a badass after the president-elect survived an assassination attempt in July. My God. But I'm pretty sure those are, I guess the U.S. doesn't care because we're not party to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. But if we were, the killings of people like that in the ocean would be considered war crimes. You can't just kill, you can't just blow shit up like that. You can't do that. That would be considered a war crime. Actually, even if you're not party to the Rome Statute, it would still be considered a war crime because these would be customary international humanitarian law. You can't just kill people in the ocean and say that it's okay without trial or anything like that. For a country that you're in. This is like what I'm talking about in terms of you can elicit certain responses from voters because they think the world is a certain way when it's not, and then they start to vote based on the problems that you tell them they're having, even if those problems aren't necessarily real. It's very frustrating. Studies showing that false news spreads faster than true news.
Because of
that wouldn't surprise me at all, and that almost seems like it would logically follow, because if you imagine true news is just going to be stuff that's happening in the world, but false news is going to be stuff that's designed to captivate a certain audience and to spread amongst that audience, right? Like it would be like saying like kids are more likely to repeat like a movie's plot than like a story of a random person's life at a random point in time. Well, of course, a movie is made to be entertaining. False news is crafted intentionally to spread a certain narrative. Not to say that I don't mean to imply, oh, we should never study stuff that's obvious or whatever. But like, yeah, this would intuitively, I think this would make sense. I say this, but like, there's two sides to every single transaction. This mode of analysis is not only worthless, it's not worthless, unfortunately. I wish it was worthless. It's actually harmful. You cannot just look at one side of a transaction and assume that if that side gets fixed, everything will go away. Ultra-processed foods aren't made just to make us sick, just so Big Pharma can, give us more medication. They're also made because they're really fucking tasty, because people like the way that they taste, and then you get accustomed to that taste, and then you demand more of it, right? Yes, there's money to be made selling it to you, but people also really fucking like it. There are two sides to this that you need to address, because if you don't, you're never going to be able to accurately get a handle on the problem. You won't even understand the problem. Hold on, V check. Queen.
Does it start with a V though?
Thank you. Do you agree with Hutch that MAGA is in a really bad spot right now? Yeah, I've been saying that I think since the election. MAGA is going to have a lot of trouble. One, because their stuff just doesn't work, right? We saw that in Trump 1. And then two, because Trump is ideally going to be gone. He's hopefully, not because he wouldn't run again, but just because he's so old. And then once Trump is gone, it's going to be a bad spot for MAGA. But there is so much damage right now that exists on the conservative side that has to be repaired somehow. And like I said, we can't just move on to the next election and pretend that none of this ever happened. I don't know how we deal with that. Took over Project 21 to see how far into the plan we are currently. No, I don't see any value in going over something like that. I know people like it. Supposedly we're 50% of the way through it. But I don't, even if everything was like a roadmap, and even if everything were to come true, I just don't see the value in like, oh, here's what they want to do. Like, it wouldn't change anything. I usually don't like looking at stuff where there's no adjustment in strategy or adjustment in anything. Like, oh, like, look, next they want to do this and that and that and that and that. And then you go, oh, look, they did this and that and that. Like, I would probably still oppose it every step of the way, whether it was in Project 2025 or not. I can understand like the appeal of it. Just for me personally, it's just not very appealing.
Soul, you always are. Whenever I get a chance to talk to you, whenever I get a chance to see you. Thank you so much.
But there's supposed to be some website that tracks it. I thought somebody linked it the other day and said we're like 47% of the way through everything.
By in this unbelievably strange deer in headlight time, and I so appreciate you coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure.
Wow.
Antifa is going to be designated a domestic terrorist organization.
Am I crazy? We don't have those, right? I feel like I've argued this in the past. Domestic terrorist organization, USA. We don't have, this is not a real thing. No? We might have things that we consider domestic, like terrorism, but I don't think we have like domestic terrorist groups. Like, I know we have FTOs for foreign terrorist organizations. Why the fuck is this whole thing highlighted? But I don't think we have domestic terrorist. I don't think we can make that designation. Am I wrong? Hold on. While international terrorism is a defined crime in federal law, acts of domestic terrorism are charged under specific laws such as killing federal agents or attempting to use explosives to destroy a building in interstate commerce. Terrorist organizations. A serious domestic terrorist threat. This is not answering my fucking question. Wait. Oh my God. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hey, does the United States maintain a list of domestic terrorist organizations? I know that the FBI sometimes mentions domestic terrorism, but is there a domestic list of, but is there a list of domestic terrorist organizations the same way we list foreign terrorist organizations? Let's see what ChatGPT says. Good question. The short answer is, oh, he said good question. Oh, I feel so smart. The short answer is no, the U.S. does not maintain an official government list of domestic terrorist organizations in the same way that the State Department maintains a list of foreign terrorist organizations under Section 219 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Here's how it works. Foreign terrorist organizations, the U.S. State Department designates FTOs. This list is public, statutory, and has clear legal consequences, providing material support to a listed FTO as a federal crime. And you can also get your like visas and shit. And I think maybe even a green card revoked. Maybe even a naturalized citizenship. I'm not sure about that. Examples include Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hezbollah, etc. Domestic terrorism. The FBI and the Department of Homeland Security monitor and investigate domestic terrorism threats, but there is no legal mechanism to formally designate domestic terrorist groups or domestic groups in the same way. The U.S. Constitution's protections, especially First Amendment rights of free speech and association, make it legally and politically complicated to maintain a government list of domestic. So, okay, I'm sorry. I should say this. Let me go a step ahead. This is the reason why I keep bringing up that he can't designate this as a domestic terrorist organization. This is the scary thing about him saying this, okay? My understanding is that if, even as a U.S. citizen, I think that if a terrorist organization exists in the Middle East, if I were to send money to a terrorist organization, I think that that is like an explicitly spelled out crime in the United States of America. United States Federal Code or State Department crime, sending money to terrorist organizations. I think that's like an actual crime, providing material support or resources to designated foreign terrorist organizations. So like I can't send money, I don't believe, to like Al-Qaeda. It would be illegal to do that. But because we have the First Amendment and we have domestic stuff going on related to freedom of speech, if you were to designate Antifa a terrorist organization, Does that mean that, like, if I donate money now to an Antifa org, that I'm going to be held criminally liable, right? You see the issue where you run into the big problems here. Even the Ku Klux Klan was not considered a terrorist organization, right? If I send money to BLM, are we going to consider that a terrorist organization? Like, there's this is a really scary thing. I'm sorry. I don't know if I've brought this point up before. Maybe I just assumed this. But the scary thing about him designating Antifa as a terrorist organization isn't just that maybe they could arrest Antifa members. It's that if you even give money to or provide support to Antifa, there might be criminal liability for that. But I don't know what they're trying to do with this.
Antifa is going to be designated a domestic terrorist organization. The president intends to sign that executive order very soon as it's drafted, as soon as today, later this afternoon. And this is something the president campaigned on because we have seen a rise in violence perpetuated by Antifa radical people across this country who subscribe to this group. And unfortunately, it's gone widely uncovered by many, and the rise in violence perpetuated by Antifa.
I'm sorry, where? Me looking around for the Antifa? What? Where is all this Antifa violence? Now, I know they're trying to blame the last shooting on like Antifa, Trans-Tifa, or whatever the fuck else, but
and this is something the president campaigned on because we have seen a rise in violence perpetuated by Antifa radical people across this country who subscribe to this group. And unfortunately, it's gone widely uncovered by many in the legacy media. It also went completely ignored by the previous administration, not anymore. Not only, as you mentioned, were the bullet casings subscribed with Antifa mottos, if you will, in the heinous assassination of Charlie, but there have also been more examples than I could read off for you here in this briefing room today of violence from Antifa. I will just read a few. In July 2025, several members of an Antifa cell ambushed and opened fire on 2025, several members of an Antifa cell ambushed and opened fire on officers at an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas, shooting one officer in the neck.
Alvarado, Texas, Antifa shooting ICE. 10 individuals charged. Oh, let's see. This is where ground news would come in if I have them still. I haven't heard of this at all. 10 individuals charged with attempted murder of federal officers and firearms offenses in Alvarado police officer shooting. Wait, hold on. And firearms offenses. Hold on, never mind. Because I was going to say this is, according to a criminal complaint filed today, the defendants dressed in black military-style clothing began shooting fireworks at the facility as part of an organized attack, but I imagine real guns come later. Approximately 10 minutes convening, one or two individuals broke off from the main group, began to spray graffiti on the vehicles and a guard structure in the parking lot at the facility. An Alvarado police officer responded to the scene after correctional officers called 911 to report suspicious activity. When the Alvarado police officer arrived, one alleged defendant positioned in nearby woods shot the officer in the neck area. Another alleged assailant across the street fired 20 to 30 rounds at unarmed correctional officers who had stepped outside the facility. As alleged in the complaint, AR-style rifles were found at the scene. Why did they leave them there, dumbass? Well, no, actually, well, fuck these guys. I'm not, like, cheering for them, but... The assailants fled from the detention center, but were stopped by additional law enforcement officers. Some defendants were wearing body armor, some were armed, and some had two-way radios. A total of 12 sets of body armor were found... Jesus. During searches of vehicles associated with the defendants, on their persons, and in the area around the Prairie Linda Detention Center. Additionally, officers found spray paint flyers stating, "Fight ICE terror with class war and free all political prisoners," and a flag stating, "Resist fascism, fight oligarchy." One of the alleged attackers had cell phones inside a Faraday bag used to block phone signals and commonly used by criminal actors to prevent law enforcement from tracking the location. Why not use a burner phone? Okay. 10 individuals were charged in one complaint with 3 counts of attempted murder. I'm surprised I didn't hear about this more. What the fuck? Wait, do you guys remember this? I feel like I didn't hear anything about this. It's kind of a crazy thing. Jesus. I heard about it. Make no mistake, this was not a peaceful protest. Yeah, no shit. They fucking shot you with a rifle. It's hard to say. Like, I'd say I don't know what this has to do with Antifa, but Antifa is like the idea of anti-fascism rather than like an actual organization. And they don't even say Antifa in the complaint. Like, I mean, I guess you could consider it Antifa. I mean, that they're like, I feel like all anti-ICE people then would basically be considered Antifa, kind of, maybe, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's like the collection is a name for whatever, yeah. Okay. Nope, not this. Sorry.
Also, in July 2025, 3 Antifa members were charged with assaulting a police officer.
Like, see, like saying like Antifa members is kind of weird. Like members of what?
3 Antifa members were charged with assaulting a police officer during a violent riot outside an ICE facility in Portland, which for weeks prior had been under siege from the local Antifa terror cell. In February 2024, a transgender Antifa terrorist detonated an explosive device outside of the office of the Republican Attorney General of Alabama. In July 2023, Antifa members linked to abortionist group Jane's Revenge firebombed pro-life facilities and vandalized churches. In January 2022, a suspected Antifa member was arrested for bringing a pipe bomb to a pro-Trump event. In January 2021, an Antifa supporter threatened to shoot police officers and Trump supporters outside of the Florida State Capitol building. Again, I could continue to list many more examples.
I don't think she can. If you've gotten to the end of this list and you're like threatened to do a thing or was part of a riot, I feel like you probably don't have that many examples then, but.
For those in the room who don't believe this is a serious threat to American safety and our national security, but this administration knows that it is. That's why the president will be signing.
I don't think she called them Antifa. She said it was an Antifa style attack. No, the implication, what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that all of these people are part of an organized group that's like being funded by like people like George Soros and shit. That's what they're trying to sell you. That's why they're making Antifa like a terrorist organization.
Signing this order. And we will also be most importantly looking at who is funding Antifa and who is funding these other violent left-wing groups that we've seen perpetuate so much crime and mayhem across our country.
Oh, fuck. Somebody brought this up and said I need to bring this up more. I didn't even know about this. That in Arizona or Texas, some guy shot and killed some BLM guy and the attorney general, no, the governor pardoned him? Oh, was it Abbott in Texas? I don't know if Daniel Perry. Why do I remember this name? Maybe I did cover this. Or read about it, I just forgot it. Convicted Daniel Perry of murdering a protester in Austin. He pardoned him. Convicted 25 years in prison for shooting and killing U.S. Air Force veteran Garrett Foster. Damn, man, we really are killing our Air Force veterans, huh? Because Ashley Babbitt was Air Force too, right? During a 2020 demonstration protesting police brutality. Texas has one of the strongest stand-your-ground laws of self-defense that cannot be nullified by a jury or a progressive district attorney. That's a crazy statement to make. That guy was in Donut Operators Discord. The board and the governor have put their politics over justice and made a mockery. Oh, okay. This is about the pardon. Say, what is it going? Okay. Wait, does every state do all governors have the pardon power the same way the president does in every state? Did you say that they will tie autism to Tylenol? I heard that. We'll see. That's in 45 minutes, right? We're finally solving autism. Bayzed. This is too long to read. It's often said that a lie can race halfway around the world before the truth has even laced its boots. That may still be true, but these days even lies are struggling to keep pace. Each falsehood barely has time to catch its breath before it's eclipsed by a fresher, shinier one. As a bonus, what is this? As a bonus, a surprise challenge for my ex e-boy Flame, who has managed to make co-parenting the mythical child Twitter invented for us uniquely difficult by crashing out and wishing death upon the entire right wing, including, or myself included, I can only assume. Oh, I think she wants to do some debate at some point, but it's just going to be, it's going to be a repost of just be nice to people. Watch the intro to the Pisco video. It's funny.
What we did in canceling Jimmy Kimmel is hypocritical. We talk about free speech, and then when someone says something we don't like, we cancel them. And I don't give a fuck. You. It's hypocritical. We're hypocritical. This is a fucking war.
That is 100% the right attitude to have. It is 100% the right attitude to have to be a hypocrite. So Rob just told you, you can't trust a word he says. I have my feelings. I have my feelings of saying I didn't like the FCC doing that, or I didn't like this thing, or I didn't like that thing. But why does that matter at this point? Who cares? Cute. In other words, he's literally a government bootlicking shill. He's admitted it to you. I'm not going to worry about living up to my rule book anymore. So, an open admission. I'm not going to worry about whether I'm consistent or not. Hey, folks, please like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to check out my newsletter. Information is in the description. We have...
Leftists are enraged by the spectacle yesterday. They are calling us Christian nationalists. They say that we want to usher in a new era of Christian nationalism. They claim that we are more radicalized than we've ever been. And they're 100% correct on all counts. Good one, dude.
His life. Look, he's been a sort of a moderate person over his lifetime, not a smart person, but a somewhat vicious person, I will say. If you feel sorry for him, don't feel so sorry because he's vicious. What he did with his political opponent and all of the people that he hurt a lot of people, Biden. And so I really don't feel sorry for him, but look,
How can you not feel sorry for somebody when they have cancer? Jesus.
He's been.
We're sitting here with so much of the Charlie brain trusts and not enough, I mean, frankly, not enough credit goes to ever the people who really make it all possible.
Look! Look! I wasn't hallucinating. What happened? Everybody was using these the SM7B. Now they're all using these RE20s. I hopped off that mic at the perfect time. What the fuck? 4 of them. 4. I felt like I never saw this mic 5 years ago. What happened?
Made like this Charlie Kirk moment possible. Cannot emphasize enough. Blake, Andrew, and the entire team here. Also Tyler, you know, on occasion there's screen time there, but like just not enough credit is given to the infrastructure and architecture that makes a Charlie even possible, right? Because there's such a huge machine behind it. Many were on stage, which is a beautiful thing that you did yesterday. Could I ask you guys a question, just live here, not to put you on the spot? Why don't we do one every year in Charlie's honor, like a memorial? Like, why don't we do like a revival style event?
I love that.
Make this like the new America Fest, or make this something that is countervailing in like a spirit that is more like a Turning Point faith event that is more like faith driven.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of people saying, you know, you guys should do tent revivals now, because you know people are like TPSA faith should go around and we should just start preaching that. But I love this
like
idea.
Having a single nexus
This is much
point,
more TPUSA.
Right? Yes, having a single nexus point in a stadium, and like to show people the magnanimity and then also just the majestic power of 100,000 people here to sing and praise and worship, and to do so in a way that is positive for the nation. Something that I think a lot of there are mega churches, but they never talk politics, right? And they never talk about like the direction a moral nation should go.
I will tell you, I spoke and overheard some conversations, I should be more exact, because with some of the worship leaders, and you know, we're talking Grammy award-winning artists. These are the best of the best, and they were blown away. They had never seen anything like it. They had never seen the Spirit move like that.
What the fuck is everyone so focused on religion right now? Okay, I kept hearing this thing for a long time. Okay, so my background, right? I grew up religious, went to Catholic grade school, Catholic Jesuit high school, did all my sacraments. Okay, except for holy orders. I think I've done everyone but holy orders, right? Because marriage is a sacrament. I didn't get married in a church though, so I don't know if that counts actually. Fuck. What are the 7 sacraments? It's baptism. It's first communion, when you suck Jesus off for the first time, right? It's reconciliation, where you beg God for forgiveness for your sins. It's confirmation. That's where you're old and mature, like at age 13, and then you really, truly accept God. Holy orders is when you take your vows to become a priest. And then marriage is a sacrament. I'm missing, are there 7 or 6? I feel like I'm missing one. What am I, anointing of the sick? What the fuck is that? Oh fuck, maybe I've only done 5. What? Oh, it's 1N. It's the second sacrament of healing. In this sacrament, a priest anoints the sick with oil, blessed specifically for that purpose. The anointing of the sick can be administered to any member of the faithful who, having reached the use of reason, begins to be in danger by reason of illness or old age. A new illness or a worsening of health enables a person to receive the sacrament a further time. I don't think I've even heard of this one. Am I a bad Catholic? The fuck? Anointing of the sick. Last right. Oh, wait. I might have heard of it in this context. Your last rites. Does that count? Final anointing administered is one of the last rites. Maybe. The Eucharist, which one administered? I don't know. Anyway. In the United States, the most dominant, like by far, denomination, I think, is evangelicals. But I don't even know what that is. I don't know what it means. It's not Catholic, right? And I don't think I'd ever met one. I don't know who these people are. But I guess maybe evangelicals are like Baptists, are they? Comprise 26% of the American population. Well, this says the Catholic Church has 71 million members. A quarter of the U.S. population would be about that, I guess. A little bit more than that. Huh. Yeah, but I'd never seen like evangelicals before ever. But then I guess all this Charlie Kirk stuff, I guess those guys are evangelicals, so yeah, I don't know. How do you even have a conversation with someone who is religious when their fallback is always just that's just God's will, that's just God's plan, or something to that extent? I mean, you call him a retard if you're an atheist for believing in imaginary men, and you go full edgelord. Or if you want to appeal on some religious grounds, you know, God gave us, or we stole from God, I guess, the faculty for a reason, depending on how you want to view it. But we're supposed to make choices that get us closer to God, and we're supposed to choose to do good things and good acts and everything. So whether or not a thing is God's plan, yes or no, doesn't absolve you of your responsibility to act like a good and moral and just person. Did your church growing up look like a church or like someone's house with a cross on top of it? I feel like Catholic churches are usually kind of like churchy. So my churches all looked like churches. Right. Did you cover the Tom Homan story? Fuck no. I feel like it's literally rage bait.
He thought that conversation was the only way to heal our country. And this was important, particularly important during a technological age when we are all hooked into social rhythms, social algorithms that are hacked into the reptilian cores of our brain and amplify our impulses for tribalism and for division.
Yeah.
He felt that the only way to overcome that biological...
I feel like one of the nicest things about being a conservative is like, you're like, okay, I need to give an inspirational speech about how to make this country better. What should I do? And it's like, well, let me just think of every single thing that I actually do and say that these are the things that we need to prevent. It's like the easiest playbook in the world because you just have to look at like, okay, what have I been tweeting out for the past week? I see this. Okay, now let's see. Okay, pretending. Okay, so I'm a conservative. Guys, what we have to do is we have to stop allowing people to maliciously masquerade on social media as people that care about us when they're really just trying to divide us and turn us against each other. The people that are weaponizing all of the branches of government and are abusing their roles and positions and power and are manipulating the media and punishing them for not carrying the government line and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, clap, 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 clap. It's like, okay, yes, got it.
That the only way to overcome that biological impulse was with a spiritual fire and with developing community, and the only way to develop community was through conversation. He thought that conversation was the only way to heal our country, and this was important.
Why did I even link this? Fuck you. Okay, wait, what was this?